Good morning and welcome to Coffee with the Commissioner. Thanks for tuning in. This is going to be our second virtual Coffee with the Commissioner. And I'm at least broadcasting today from the County Commission chambers, which is empty. And Dr. George will be here shortly, and we will be socially distanced. So I have removed my mask just for a bit here so that I could do some introductions. I know that one of the hot topics today is going to be the Mask Ordinance and whether or not that's going to be extended. Last week I asked for a special meeting for this Thursday, the 22nd, to consider extending that mask requirement, and that was granted by the chair, and so the issue will be brought up on the 22nd at 3 p.m. I believe that we will be sending out links so that you can, whoever's interested in sharing their views, can tune in virtually or can appear in person. I would urge everyone to, even though I've received literally hundreds, probably 300 emails already expressing your views about whether or not to extend the Mask Ordinance, that you please take this opportunity to let us know how you feel about that. Again, I've, as most of you know, I've been a proponent of the Mask Ordinance. I think it's in keeping with the science. We protect each other that way, and we also will help protect our economy. I received many emails from part-time residents to Collier County that are telling me that they are very hesitant to come down or will not come down if we do not have a mask requirement, because where they are has a mask requirement. So it's I think of grave importance, and it's also about taking care of each other, taking care of our neighbors, our family members. As we can see from Governor Christie and even the president that's contracted it, it is not a hoax. It is serious and is going to continue to be with us for quite a while. And so I think it's the prudent thing to do. I understand that people feel otherwise, and I respect that. So, having said that, today we're going to be talking trash today, and first we're going to go out remotely to Carrie Hodgson, who is the Director of Solid Waste, on something really amazing. I mean, I don't know how many communities have this available, but we are starting a new program that she will explain on recycling foam, which is one of these wastes that's really been problematic, I think, around the world. So this is really exciting, and I'm happy to introduce Carrie Hodgson, Director of Solid Waste. Carrie?
Good morning. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Wonderful. Good morning, everyone, and happy Coffee with the Commissioner. Thank you for having me today, Commissioner. I'm Carrie Hodgson, your Director of Solid Waste in Collier County. And right here in your Commissioner's District, we have our North Collier Recycling Center. We were available and lucky enough to receive a $50,000 grant that allowed us to purchase a foam recycling machine, and I'll show that to you right over here. And so we're performing a 3-year pilot study in the county, and we're starting it here at North Collier because it's our most visited center. So I'll walk you through and show you some of how this works for you as a resident that you can come visit us. All right, so you can pull up. Let me grab a piece of foam here. And can I have a piece of foam, Angie?
big one, little one?
Sure. All right. So, everything you get today, especially with COVID, we're getting a lot more home deliveries. Everything has foam. So what better way to take care of this and get it out of our waste stream than to recycle it? So you can come here Monday through Saturday, 8:30 to 4:30 to the North Collier Recycle Center. Drive right up here. We have a bin. You can put your materials in. And then from here, what will happen is our staff will take this foam, put it in our foam condenser, where a third-party vendor will come pick everything up and take it to the market. And let me show you what you can have out of foam products. And then we'll show you how the machine works. That's the fun part. I hope that your coffee's extra strong this morning for this funness. All right, so when you're done making foam materials, the products in your home like molding, so this is made out of recycled foam, and picture frames. So when you have picture frames made from foam, it's great. There's always a repurpose. So this is what the finished product looks like right here. So we bundle all this up, and that's what the vendor comes and picks up. And I'll have our wonderful guest, Angie, here show you how this works. And I'll step back a little so it's not too loud. All right.
Ready?
Yes. So here, I'll film if you want. The machine uses a radiant heat to melt the foam.
Oh. Carrie, does it matter what kind of foam it is, or can we recycle any kind of foam?
You can recycle grade A and grade B foam. Grade B is your containers from restaurants, and grade A is essentially everything else. And I'm going to show you what happens as this material comes out of the machine. Try not to get too loud for you folks. So you can see when it comes out, that's how it looks. Right here. Oh. All right. So you can bring most foam products here. The only thing that we ask is that you do not bring foam peanuts, because they will get stuck in the machine and it'll take us quite a while to unclog it.
So wonderful. So any kind of foam other than peanuts is acceptable. And what were the hours again?
We are open Monday through Saturday, 8:30 to 4:30.
Wonderful. And are there any other counties in Florida that are trying this pilot program to see if we can do this?
Commissioner Solis, I do not think there are. I think we were the first one from when we started researching this, and we really thank you for your support to let us apply for the grant. We were honored to have received it and try this out.
This is fantastic news. I know, especially with COVID and all of the home deliveries, that the foam is piling up, and if we can find a use for it, fantastic. Congratulations. I know Dr. George and I have had so many conversations about how to recycle, what can we recycle, and amazing products. I guess that anything can be made out of this material almost, right? That's plastic. So, or is it a kind of a plastic that it turns into?
Yes, the interior molding in your home and the picture frame we showed you, they come out as a plastic material. So it's a lot of plastics that can be remade from it. And it takes over 50 years for foam to break down in a landfill. So you're right, anything that we can divert out of our waste stream is a huge bonus.
That's fantastic. I remember that when I moved to Collier County in 1993, a long time ago now, one of the concerns at that time was that our landfill was filling up. And there was a lot of concern that no new landfills had been permitted in Florida in many, many years, and where would it be situated? I remember that was a real concern for Collier County when I came to town, and I'm sure we'll hear more from Dr. George, who is here now, and about that and all the great things that you all have done working with the landfill and recycling and keeping our environment as healthy as it can be. So thanks for all you do.
Absolutely, and thank you again for your support, Commissioner.
Thank you. Okay, well, it's now my pleasure and honor to introduce Dr. George Yilmaz. He is the Director of the Public Utilities Department, which is not just public utilities. It is a very, very big department, maybe one of the, if not the largest, maybe in our county government. And I'll let him explain a little bit about what the Public Utilities Department does, the scope of it, because it is huge. And I will say that we are lucky to have Dr. George as our Director of Public Utilities, someone who is always looking at new science, new opportunities to do things differently, to reuse things out of the landfill. And he's been instrumental, and as far as I know, our landfill filling up is no longer a concern, at least in the near future. I'm sure eventually we'll get there, but at least in the near future, that's no longer a concern. And so, Dr. George, welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner. And it is our pleasure and our honor to have my team having a chance to provide showcase of one of the proven technologies that our new director in charge, Kari, brought to light with your help, Commissioner. We thank you. And I think that those kind of initiatives, among many others, do contribute saving our landfill space. And as far as the magnitude of work we do under Public Utilities and Facilities Management Group is that we do have close to $460 million capital program to be executed and implemented next 5 to 7 years under facilities management, mostly driven by surtax process. And we do have at least $250 million investment in our infrastructure in terms of water, sewer, irrigation water quality, and our solid waste infrastructure, including solid waste, municipal recyclables collection. So we're looking at close to $750 to $800 million, close to $1 billion capital program next 5 to 7 years to be completed with substantial completion about 10 years out. So we have a fantastic investment portfolio, well thought out, that positions Collier County for not only future growth that board will approve and has approved, but positions us to serve our, more importantly, over 250,000 customers currently in place. Like any other infrastructure, our infrastructure every decade gets old, and there's a depreciation and amortization. So under our enterprise asset management, what we do, we make sure that we renew our assets. One of the programs we have is called PURE program, Public Utility Renewal Program. And Commissioner, your district has been one of the selected ones for all good reasons. That is one of the oldest infrastructure we have there. And we go every neighborhood, planned, well organized, well communicated to best our ability. And we renew all the pipes, water, sewer, irrigation water, manholes, lift stations, fire hydrants, meters, water meters, and behind the water meters, even protecting our water supply at source called backflow prevention devices. They are all renewed following the guidance as well as compliance requirements that everything we do replace is lead-free, even in terms of alloy. So our renewal program definitely enhancing our compliance level, but more importantly, enhancing compliance and sustainability of our public health when it comes to those mission critical functions, water, sewer, as well as irrigation water. Now, as far as solid waste infrastructure goes, which is as visible, people may not know our customers, but we have touched close to 41,000 customers today alone. By the time 1,500 hours hits our clock and second shift starts in our workload, we will be touching 41,000, as we did yesterday, customers. That means every day we collect garbage and recyclable cans, 41,000. That means we have 41,000 opportunities for our commissioners and our leadership to get complaints. We have to do every collection right. We have to manage every bin right. Therefore, our task is very tactical. We have to do it every day right. Very small error of margin from water production, going into the taps, ready for commissioner, baby formulas. We cannot make any error. We have no room for error. We have to be compliant. We have to produce that water clean. We have to produce it 24/7. And every time comes out of faucet has to be safe and clean. That's the mission. And we have great team of 460 people working 24/7, highly educated, highly trained, all licensed, serving our customers and our Collier County. So that's the overall highlight of mission and magnitude of capital program portfolio we have. In terms of operations, we are all focused on, yes, process, but we are all focused on end result and products that we produce and deliver to customers on time, compliant, safe, and meets quality standards, including pressure. Wow. So I hope I was able to summarize, Commissioner, and we appreciate, I want to take this opportunity, we appreciate very much your efforts, your office efforts, your aid and your team, your support team. With your help, we have been able to do something that is exemplary in state of Florida. Other utilities actually start following us. We are able to go into old neighborhoods, bring them to new utility standards to the point that it's almost like a new development, and it is in terms of infrastructure. And we see that in your district, Naples Park is a great example. Right. And we appreciate our customers there with your help and their understanding that we'll do and continue to do everything we can to provide exceptional customer service during construction. And we will make sure that our sustained customer service thereafter in terms of those essential services will continue.
And one of the things that I thought was very impressive in the PRU project in Naples Park was that you coordinated that also with the stormwater drainage. And so there wasn't a replication of work, and two parts of the county worked together to make a really complicated, complex process of changing out all of that infrastructure, sewer drains, water lines, meters, all of that work together seamlessly with improving the stormwater drainage in Naples Park, which was very much needed. So great job. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Moving back to our one of the most important infrastructure, solid waste, recyclables, yard waste, and household hazardous waste management. It is visible because of the fact that our garbage cans are personal. They go into our homes, they go into our garage, we care about what we recycle, and we care about doing it right. Therefore, our customers, most if not all, they do have ownership of those cans. So the reason I'm going there because of the fact that solid waste becomes very personal due to the fact that it hits every single customer's home. What we do, how we do, and those garbage cans and recyclable cans becomes custodian and the ownership of our customers. So every time we touch those cans, we are touching something that our customers truly care about. Now, what happens to what we put in our recyclables and garbage can? What you're seeing on the screen is that our regional sanitary class 1 county landfill. What that means is that it meets all EPA and Florida Department of Environmental Protection standards, including monitoring, air, groundwater, surface water, and monitoring internally leachate production and gas production, and make sure that the sanitary landfill, one, does not produce off-site odor emissions every day. Two, it does not create off-site fugitive dust emissions. Three, it does not create noise. We have noise abatement. And as importantly, we want to make sure that our leachate handled properly and meets our pre-treatment standards at this time so that we're able to take it to our wastewater system. So it does not go to stormwater system. It is not discharged to environment. It directly goes to wastewater treatment facilities where that gets treated.
And for those that maybe aren't familiar with landfills, what is leachate?
Leachate is garbage juice. What it is we have open face when the garbage gets dumped at top of the area we're putting our garbage. Of course, this is a rainy territory. It rains, and so we do have some water externally coming to where we put the garbage. Then garbage also it has own moisture, especially organic waste. So when you combine it together through compaction and through natural attenuation, and more importantly, through biodegradation, you have what I consider lay terms garbage juice. Technically, it's called leachate, but it's truly garbage juice. Now, it is very similar to wastewater before we treat it, but by the time it trickles down and we collect it and we pump it to our wastewater system, it gets treated to the quality of irrigation water because it meets with all the other wastewater for treatment. Now, our board approved Class 1 highly monitored deep injection well for us to be able to discharge our leachate. And we are the only regional landfill operations did not have deep injection well for our leachate. It was all business decision. It costs to treat leachate, and if we treat the leachate and dip inject, or don't treat and dip inject, depending on criteria. Under our new director in charge, Kari, we were able to get our dip injection well up and running, and we're in the process of construction. Once that's done, that will make sure that we do not discharge leachate to environment, nor stress our wastewater system on the collection side of things, especially for storm events like Cat 1, Cat 2, Cat 3 hurricane, and or tropical storm that creates significant amount of leachate that needs to be discharged properly. So that project is in process and at work, and I think that will bring great deal of reliability for our leachate management at the landfill.
Wonderful.
Now, let's talk about landfill. Landfill, it started as ancient times dump site. When we see Indian mountains, they are not landfill, but that's what they did with their shell. They treated and created mountain of shells that actually they could create high grounds. Okay, then it grown to be more and more dump sites. Then our Environmental Protection Agency decades ago moved to strongly regulate landfills. And there was a time close to 80% of our landfills, municipal landfills, were identified as potential Superfund sites when we had the Superfund legislation passed, CERCLA passed, and RECRA passed. Since then, we have improved our technologies to the point that we have a landfill like the one you see, is that it's not a dump site, it's engineered. You have 2 layers of confinement. Confinement includes clay, and confinement includes at least 10-year warranty, 15 to 20 years life cycle polyurethane layer. So what you see there, garbage is being placed on impermeable layer. It's not going to the ground or groundwater. It's captured in this impermeable layer. Now, it goes back to leachate. When the garbage juice sips down, where it gets collected is in this impermeable layer, and that's where we take the garbage juice out and treat it properly or dispose it properly. Now, what is on top of landfill is another polyurethane cover. It's almost like a rooftop, totally covering the landfill. So that keeps it totally encapsulated and away from environment, not necessarily environmental factors coming in, but also potentially negatively impacting environmental factors within the landfill going out. So it's as much as possible encapsulated, controlled, and captured, engineered system. Anything in there in terms of fluid, we take it out as leachate. Anything captured in the form of gas, we capture. Now, we talked about leachate, but let's talk about gas. Landfill gas. Well, initially landfill gas was used to be just put into the air, called passive air management system. That means it just uses the pressure created within the landfill, and the gas is admitted through pipes or wells. Went through the landfill, it just emits all that landfill gas out, mostly methane.
And I remember that when I came to town
Yes, sir.
every morning, you knew there was a landfill.
Yes. And now, 2 points I want to make. Methane gas is one of the most effective gas emissions when it comes to greenhouse effects. Multiple times worse than carbon dioxide itself. So methane, as innocent as the gas looks, it's not visible, people cannot see it as a smoke, but it's a greenhouse gas emission. So we looked at all the proven technologies. We looked at turbines. We went all the way to BMW plant in Carolinas, where they use turbines to power portions of the BMW plant from the landfill. We learned a lot about how challenging maintaining those high RPM energy generator systems. So finally, we narrowed down our selection to All-American Caterpillar, converted to run on natural gas and or methane gas. So what you're looking at is our landfill gas to energy plant that is currently operational at the landfill. They are Caterpillar generators. Instead of running on diesel or natural gas or gas, it is running on landfill gas. And the landfill gas generated in our landfill through this investment here provides power to approximately 3,500 tons. So our landfill gas used to be emitted to air, which is not healthy for our air quality, now being converted to energy, electricity, equivalent to 3,500 tons in Collier County. And the other good thing about it is that our director in charge, new director Kari, is going to be the first one to tell you that this is highly regulated. Once you put any fuel source through internal combustion engines, they are regulated highly. So what comes out of these Caterpillar engines actually better in terms of emission than diesel engines. So what we're doing is through this landfill gas to energy plant, we have a landfill gas to air quality pollutants reduction plant. So it's a two for there. We're reducing the impact of methane going into the air, being converted into energy through internal combustion engines, but through that process, we're treating methane as if it is any other fuel, and it's regulated by FDEP what the emission standards should be. So those are the highlights on landfill gas to energy. Now, landfill gas to energy is going to expand, and our new director in charge, Kari, has plans to move this to the north, which we're going to talk about resource recycling park. And expansion opportunities for landfill gas to energy plant is going to be commingled with potential biosolids, natural gas or biogas conversion plant. And not only are we going to have our sludge coming out of wastewater plants, but also our landfill producing 2-3 times more energy as a hypothetical at this time and conceptual plans, which we're going to talk about briefly. Let's talk about our hazardous waste collection centers. Kari has done exceptional job showing one of the centers. This is a picture of our hazardous waste collection center at the landfill. Now, why we have these hazardous waste collection centers? Hazardous waste from household and garages and small businesses used to go to landfill. Anything goes to landfill goes to leachate. If the leachate turns into something that our domestic wastewater treatment cannot handle because of the hydrocarbons, chlorinated hydrocarbons, or anything hazardous waste being combined, we would have to reject that waste. That means our leachate collection and treatment would be extremely high cost. We would end up with hazardous waste not passing TCLP test, meaning the cost of disposal would be tremendously high. We would have to ship it out of state. However, Kari has been doing exceptional job collecting our hazardous waste from garages of our residential homes and small businesses, they are small quantity generators, and eliminating hazardous waste going into the landfill. More importantly, hazardous waste going into our stormwater drains and what have you. So we encourage our small quantity generator businesses as well as our household hazardous waste generators, take advantage of these facilities, bring everything that Kari says you can bring, we'll recycle it and dispose it properly for you. Next slide, please. Resource Recovery Business Park. This is part of our integrated solid waste management strategy Kari and I'm working on, and that the first quarter of the next, not fiscal year, but calendar year, first quarter of calendar year, we're planning to get ready and present updated integrated solid waste management strategies similar to integrated water resources management strategy that board approved about 5 years ago. As part of that, this is preview. As you can see, the green shaded area called Collier County Resource Recovery Park, north of landfill and north of the sports park. That's where you'll see number of resource recovery facilities gonna go. Artificial reef, decontamination, staging, and launching site. C&D, construction and demolition recycling site, yard waste processing, mulching, and composting site, new scale houses and new environmental control center, operations center, and as importantly, most likely, we will have biosolids facility there as well, with the hope that the technologies that we're looking for will be cutting edge, not bleeding edge, that will augment our new landfill and waste energy plant. However, that's not mass burner. We're talking about biosolids producing, being digested methane gas and landfill gas being converted into energy. So it's landfill gas to energy, biosolids to energy type processes going there. Among many other things. So Resource Recovery Business Park is going to be our innovation center. And there will be public-private partnerships as to be reviewed, negotiated, competitively procured, and filtered and screened before it comes to the board. The concept there is that can we extend the length and life of the landfill by recycling and diverting waste more? And more importantly, can we put technologies there so that anything we recycle not only gets recycled but reused locally or nationally? And there are some challenges in our waste stream as far as recyclables. Without getting into any specific countries, there are some international market challenges in recyclable markets. And Kari and I will address that as part of our workshop. We want to bring to board solutions against challenges rather than challenges and look for solutions from the board. Our job is to make sure that we bring alternatives and solutions to the board with vision and options for the vision to be shared. Once we have the solidified vision, we got our North Star, we'll execute. With that, I just want to briefly thank you for everyone tuning in. And Commissioner, we thank you and Angela for wonderful opportunity to be part of Coffee with the Commissioner. And we like to be part of it. I usually tune in and listen. I'm one of your followers when it comes to Coffee with the Commissioner. It's a wonderful, wonderful process. And I can tell you sincerely, Commissioner, that I do learn a lot from your Coffee with the Commissioner, even though I'm part of the local government running the enterprise business and operations. Your journals, your letters out there, and your Coffee with Commissioner town hall gatherings is just refreshing. We thank you making us part of it.
Well, thank you, Dr. George, and I'll just say that it's such a pleasure to work with Dr. George and the staff. Always being proactive, always looking for the innovative way to deal with solid waste, or an innovative way of restoring or improving our infrastructure. It really is one of the things that I think makes Collier County such a great place to live, is the way our staff is always looking to be proactive, and you're certainly the leader in that, so thank you. There are some questions that I thought I would pose. A couple of them in regards to the styrofoam recycling. There's a question from Mr. Kaufman. Should the foam be put in the recycle containers, or does it need to be dropped off at the recycle center?
Drop-off centers would be most appropriate place. Okay. Yes.
Okay, so if at all possible, put it in, drop it off at the North Collier Center, which is just south of Immokalee Road on Goodlett Frank Road.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay.
And our goal is, Commissioner, if I might, as a follow-up to that inquiry, our goal is, Kari, our new director in charge, initiated this program. It's a full-scale demonstration pilot program at one of the recycling centers, and we will evaluate success. We will mitigate where we can make it more effective, and we want to move this program to all recycling centers and make it much more available and convenient to our customers.
Fantastic. I mean, this is again, it's so refreshing to see always the forward-looking philosophy, the innovation, looking for ways to improve our environment. It's our bread and butter here in Collier County, so we need to protect it, and you're doing a great job on that. Let me see that one other question about the recycling. How do we know if it's grade A or B? And I recall Kari saying that A is basically everything that's not a restaurant container, but no packing peanuts.
Yes.
Okay, I'll say that again. Please, no packing peanuts. Well, again, Dr. George, thank you for all you do on behalf of the residents of Collier County and the environment, because it really is amazing. I remember, you knew there was a landfill that was filling up when I moved to town, and that is no longer something that you wake up to in the morning. At least I don't. And to think that we are finding ways to recycle things that weren't recyclable and to generate essentially clean energy from what would be a pollutant that is contributing to the environmental damage that's happening. So thank you again, and I really appreciate all your help. And I love hearing Dr. George speak, because you realize very quickly, speaking to Dr. George, that there's nothing about solid waste or utilities that is just you pile it up. It's all engineered. It's all based upon science, and it's as proactive as we can be. So thanks again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, so usually during the coffees with the commissioner, we have our coffee. And I do a little District 2 update, and I thought I would run through a few things that are happening in District 2 that you'd like to know about. First off, there are, after Hurricane Irma, we saw the effects of the storms on some of the rivers and estuaries, and we're working on several projects related to the aftermath of Hurricane Irma, specifically in the Cocohatchee-Palm River area that's north of Immokalee Road. There are several areas in the Cocohatchee River Basin that silted in as a result of the storm. And we're going to begin, and I think we have several slides, we're going to begin removing the silted in areas. If as you can see on the slide that's I believe coming on right now, you see at Immokalee Road at the bottom of the picture, you can see the areas of the Cocohatchee that have silted in. The light colored there, where the part that comes out of Palm River neighborhood and the Cocohatchee River going up from Immokalee Road and the canal, you can see where they've silted in. One of the concerns is that the silting in could impact flood protection in the event of a major storm. So approximately 8,600 cubic yards of sand and silt are planned to be removed. It is a joint project with the Big Cypress Basin and of the South Florida Water Management District. And it is something that's probably long overdue. I know after the hurricane, I toured the Palm River area, and there was a lot of concern that in another storm event, there could be extensive flooding. So these areas that you see where the arrows are will be, we're going to begin dredging those. The work will is going to be on an accelerated schedule, excuse me, Monday through Saturday, 8 to 5, except for holidays. And we're hoping to complete that before the rainy season returns, which would just make it that much more difficult and would take that much longer. So the next slide is the Cocohasset River east and just west of the US 41 bridge there. You can see the two areas in the middle of the picture. On either side of US 41, a lot of silting in there. Again, the initial survey work has been completed in these two areas, and we're currently working to hire a firm to design the dredging project. And that obviously is going to have to go through permitting through various agencies as well, but that is also in process. And then finally, the next phase of this whole plan will be from the shaded orange area to the west of US 41 all the way out to Wiggins Pass. We're going to start doing some modeling, because as you can see from the picture, there are also shoaled-in areas and silted-in areas that are of concern, and we want to make sure that the river system there is adequate for flood protection and the health, I'm sure, as well as the health of that entire estuary would be affected. So we're going to start working on the modeling. The health of the waterway is a top priority. It will require some very close coordination with lots of different government entities, and that's moving forward as well. And it'll also help us identify for the future other needs and improvements that we may need to make sure that that part of the estuary is as healthy as it can be. So that's an update on the Cocohasset and Palm River. A little bit of an update on the Collier County CARES Act funds, the COVID pandemic relief funds. The CARES Act funds have reopened. The dates for applications through the portal, the applications will begin on they began on October 12th, and they go through Monday, October 26th at noon. And that's for individual assistance. That's for applications for hospitals, nursing homes, and public safety. There's a portal for that, and that's going to be open through October 26th. We decided to reopen it. There wasn't that much, I think, activity, or at least not as much activity as we had anticipated. So we have been able to reopen the CARES Act funds portal. Individual assistance, the application portal will begin on Monday, October 19th. And runs through Monday, November 2nd at noon. And that's for individual assistance. I believe that covers rent and other assistance required as a result of the pandemic. And then finally, the small business assistance and relaunch sector, that application portal is also going to be reopened. That began on the 19th, Monday, October 19th, and runs through Monday, November 2nd at noon. So if anyone is interested in applying, please go to www.collierflcares.com, www.collierflcares.com. And you can get all the information on taking advantage of the Collier CARES funds portal. We've made sure as a commission that we wanted to make sure that as much of those funds that come in from the federal government, that as much of it as possible go to directly help our residents that have been impacted by the pandemic. A little update on the mental health initiative that began several years ago. This year's mental health workshop will be held on Tuesday, November 17th from 9 a.m. to noon. I think we are well on our way of changing, again, the paradigm for how we work with and deal with mental health in Collier County, switching from reliance upon our jail as a mental health facility to the creation of a central receiving facility, a data collaborative, and all the other things that are required to fundamentally change how we deal with mental health and addiction issues in Collier County. Relying on the jail has been shown to be not only a bad policy in terms of how we deal with or help people with mental health issues and addiction issues, how we help them to become more productive members of our community, but it's also been shown to be very bad fiscal policy. And so we are well underway to change that. We adopted the mental health and addiction strategic plan for Collier County last year, and we are moving forward on that as well. So that's good news on that front as well. So we have a few minutes left, and I see that I've got lots of questions here. There's a question regarding the One Naples project. And as I've said, the question is, do you agree with One Naples project as currently being presented to the to the Planning Commission, and that it violates the Land Development Code? As I've said always, the Planning Commission is a vitally important part of our zoning process. And the Planning Commission, I think, is going to be on its third full meeting, reviewing the One Naples project. Applications that go through this process for developments rarely come out of this process the way they went in, and I think I feel certain that this will be the case. The Planning Commission is kind of our eyes and ears for the community, and listens to the concerns of the residents in that area to make sure that things are compatible. Obviously, traffic congestion, intensity, density, all of those issues I have expressed are of great concern to the residents there. They're a great concern to me, and I look forward to seeing what comes out of the Planning Commission process, because that is what's then presented to the county commissioners. I think there will be substantial changes. I know staff has disagreed with some of the things that have been presented. So as soon as that process is over, we'll have a better idea of what will be presented to the county commission and whether or not the Planning Commission is in favor of approving that or not. And I will say that just recently there was a zoning petition that came through that process, came out of the Planning Commission with a recommendation for denial because the developer was not willing to meet certain additional criteria that the planning commissioners thought would make it compatible. In between the Planning Commission meeting and when it was presented to us, the developer went back and agreed to every single one of those conditions that the Planning Commission was requesting for a recommendation for approval, and then that particular project was approved by the Commission. I think that's the process at work. It is a good process. It gives the residents in the area the ability to express their feelings about it, and it's the way that process is supposed to work. Again, I will look at it very, very closely. This is It's a very important project. Obviously, it's the last piece of essentially undeveloped or area that's ready for redevelopment in that proximity and across the street essentially from Vanderbilt Beach, and it is a vital concern. So I plan on reviewing that very, very closely, and I have meetings with lots of the residents that I know have reservations. But again, I want to see what comes out of the full review process, which will be on its third meeting, before I pass judgment on anything, because it might change, and it just serves to confuse the process. Let's see, other questions. Is there an opportunity to physically tour the landfill and the facility? And I have a thumbs up from Dr. George. I think he can find we can get a number maybe for the landfill tour that we can organize that through my office. Dr. George?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
And I want to add, if you're going to go to landfill, we'll include landfill gas to energy plant. And on the way, if we have time, we can even swing by and see the wastewater regional treatment plant.
Fantastic.
All up to you, Commissioner.
Fantastic. We'll please contact whoever's interested in that. We can set up a tour through my office. Angela Goodner in my office can help coordinate that. Maybe we'll do that this coming season if pandemic willing. Next, what is this? Oh, this is an interesting question. What is the status of powering the sewage lift stations that were such a problem during Hurricane Irma? Well, I know that we purchased, I believe, 500. Dr. George, I'm looking at Dr. George again. We purchased several hundred portable generators, and we also installed some permanent generators at key sites.
Yes, Commissioner. I think it is a combination of where it does make sense, we lease and or rent from our emergency response contractors. And we just received FEMA grant, and board has approved it for about 52 generators, portable and permanent generators. That's being at work. So we're going to have those 52 generators under grant funds, not impacting our user rates, being placed. Our goal is 50% of about 800 plus lift stations to be on some kind of backup pumping and or energy in the form of fuel cells and or new battery systems like Generac has, and or natural gas or traditional diesel generators. So we're looking at not only backup power, backup generators, but technologies where it makes sense. So your numbers are right between what we have rented and what we have procured since Wilma is about over 200.
Wonderful. I know that was the big debate after Hurricane Wilma or Irma was how do we avoid some of the backup issues that we had before? And I know a lot of thought has gone into how to strategically energize the system to make sure that we have the service that we need during another event. So
you summarized it very well, Commissioner. I think that if I want to give one visual to our customer as the question, we all know Florida is flat and where we are is flatter. So when we see Collier County, we see Smoky Mountains. What that means is that our SCADA system, which is supervisory controls and data acquisition system, and our modeling, what we see is in a virtual reality hills. What these lift stations do, they actually create virtual hills so that wastewater can run from higher elevation to lower elevation. And you word it so well, where we're gonna put these hills, sometimes constrained by the developments or availability. However, we make it work. 90+% of the time, those virtual hills continue to stay and exist as if it is Smoky Mountains. Now, if one of those hills collapse, then we lose the energy. That means we lose the hill. That means everything supposed to come down goes up. So it's all virtual assessment. I just did want to paint the picture that it is all about managing the energy, power, pressures, hydraulics under routine and non-routine conditions. I just want to remind our customers that what hit us, direct hit, Cat 5 hurricane. Within 72 hours, we fixed 500 water main breaks. Within 72 hours of the landfall, 500 water main breaks. Why important? We need to stabilize the pressure to continue and sustain the water service. Within 5 days, 750 water main breaks we fixed. That's tremendous work outside. Now, as far as lift stations goes, this is a great opportunity. It's one of the few times I have a chance. Out of 800 plus lift stations, including private ones, about 1,000 lift stations, they were all out except 40 master pump stations under generator power for 7 days, no power. We were able to power at least 300 within 72 hours, but remaining don't have power. That means we lost those hills. So it's a tremendous effort. There are no excuses. We'll do better, and we will be ready, and we are ready for something as bad, if not worse than Irma. Thank you for the opportunity, Commissioner.
Knock on wood. Thank you, Dr. George. And it is a, I love talking to Dr. George also because it gives some scope to how big of a task it is to keep all of this infrastructure running. And I know we're unfortunately running out of time. I wish we had more time to talk to and answer some more questions. There was another question about the foam and what happens to it once the volume's reduced and it's made into all sorts of products. We had an example of, I think it was crown molding or baseboards, that kind of material for our building construction industry, I think is a great use for that. I think there was also a picture frame. Things that can be made out of plastics, I think, can be made out of this recycled foam. Fantastic opportunity to help our environment. And again, it's 10:30. I wish we had more time to field some more questions, but feel free to email Angela or myself, and we will do everything we can to get back to everyone as soon as possible. Please understand, though, that in the last, I think, 24 hours, we've received somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 plus emails related to the Mask Ordinance. We do our best to respond to each one, but obviously with an overwhelming volume, we may not get to everybody right away, so please be patient. You can always call my office and try to reach me or Angela Goodner, my executive coordinator, who is fantastic. So please, thank you. Please enjoy the rest of the week. Thank you for being here. And again, please help us by masking up and protecting our residents, each other, and our economy. Thank you.